Alrighty everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Hot Takes. It has been a minute since we've done an episode of Hot Takes. There was Cold Takes, but that was in like July. It's been a while since we've turned up the heat a bit, increased the Scoville unit on these wings. So I'm not going to waste any time getting into this. Links to everything, Instagram, Discord, podcast, it's all in the description below. And we're just going to jump right in with this first one. Long rollouts are good because you're constantly getting new music instead of having lots of off periods. Now, before I start pleading my case here, I do want to play devil's advocate with the wording here, because rollouts can be long or they can be short, and they can release a little or a lot of music in that designated time. Not every long rollout has lots of pre-releases, and likewise, not every short rollout has minimal. Now, I've been quite vocal on my preferences when it comes to album rollouts. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll know I'm not the biggest fan of 4, 5, 6, even 7 tracks from an album being put out before the official release date, mostly because I just think it saps the fun out of the final day. Like, imagine for Christmas, your parents get you 12 presents every single year, and one year you're only allowed to open one present before Christmas. But the next year, your parents make you open one gift in August, 2 in September, 1 in October, 1 in November, 1 in early December, and then on Christmas Day you get the rest. I think the majority of us can agree that the Christmas morning of the first example is going to be a lot more exciting. There's just something magical about the clock ticking midnight on a Thursday and an entire album popping up in your library. The reason I compare it to Christmas is because that's how it honestly feels. It's like I've got 13 or however many songs right in front of me waiting for me to listen to them. I have no clue what each song contains. It's like a nuclear explosion of dopamine going on in my head. However, to get the train back on the track here, the reason I played devil's advocate in the beginning is because some of my all-time favorite album rollouts have been long. They just don't dish out half the freaking project before it comes out. The most relevant example at the moment for me being Silk Sonic, who are putting out their debut self-titled album next friggin' Friday. This has been a long rollout. 8 months to be exact. Leave the Door Open was in March, Skate was right at the tail end of July, and then we're getting Smoking Out the Window this Friday, or whatever November 5th is relative to when this video goes up or when you're watching. And then the whole album drops on November 12th, aka the following Friday. Now, granted, for a 9-track album, that would mean they have given us 33% or a third of the record already. But with Smoking Out the Window being the week before, it's sort of just like opening a present on Christmas Eve. Like, you're pretty much there at that point. I guess it just boils down to how you like to listen to your music. Because for me, I'm someone who listens to an album from front to back, in order, no playlist, no shuffling. So for me, I really enjoy the thrill of a release day where it all gets dumped on me at once. But if you're someone who skims through an album, finds your favorites, and throws them on a big playlist, I can definitely see why you enjoy getting as much as possible as soon as possible. And I don't mean that in a condemning way. There's no right or wrong way to listen to music. Just for my habits, I prefer a thinner rollout. Be sure to let me know in the comments where you guys stand on this whole situation. And please do for any of these takes. If you've got something to say, let's hear it down below. Let's start some convivial conversation. Zach Bryan will not make a better album than DeAnn. This is a heater. And it really just comes down to how you want to determine better. Is better objectively speaking, or is better from an emotional standpoint or an impact standpoint? And then when you break down impact, are we talking impact on the industry or the world at the time, or impact on you personally? And all are completely legitimate. Especially with artists like Zach Bryan, who start quite literally from scratch, there's so much room for technical improvement, improvements we saw on his Quiet Heavy Dreams EP from around this time last year. Zach made the inevitable transition into a studio environment with the help of the brilliant Dave Cobb, and as you expect from professionally produced music, it came out super tight, super clean, the recording quality was super high. So from that perspective, Quiet Heavy Dreams is light years ahead of DeAnn, which famously was nothing more than Zach and his guitar playing in a room full of mattresses. But where one could argue DeAnn and Elizabeth, but specifically DeAnn, fall short, is the same spot someone on the other side could argue is the magic of the project. One could also argue DeAnn features Zach's most passionate performances, his most emotionally taxing lyrics and songwriting, which in a way can make up for the lack of recording quality. And though I'm not the person who submitted this take, I think it's as a result of the same reason why DeAnn is my favorite Zach Bryan album. and that's the personal experience I've had with it. Because, at least in my opinion, for the contextual reasons alone, I don't think Zach will ever drop a better record. DeAnn was so fresh and stunning when it first came out. Some no-name from the Navy was blowing up on YouTube, and he made an album with nothing more than a guitar, a microphone, and a mattress, and that album shot him into stardom. DeAnn made such a massive splash on the independent world when it first came out, but it also acted as a big gateway for a lot of people to enter into the independent world and introduce them to artists like Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson, Jason Isbell, and from each one of those you can go down a million separate rabbit holes. But even when you speak objectively, I guess it's what you want to get out of the music, because there is a lot of power and brilliance in the lo-fi quality of DeAnn, but I think as far as mainstream or appeal goes, something like Quiet Heavy Dreams is going to be way more appealing to more people because it's more produced. So, do I think Zach will ever make an album objectively better than DeAnn? Probably. He's a really clever guy, he's got a knack for songwriting, and he's starting to get a lot of fame and attention, so he's getting a lot of great people around him. So I think it's almost inevitable, seeing as we met him at the very beginning with no help from anybody but his friends, to see him where he is now. I think it's inevitable that he's going to objectively improve, but again, it all comes down to how you measure the quality of an album. And it's something that none other than the boy Drake himself said perfectly in one of my favorite interview clips ever. Roll it.
And you got to get back on that So Far Gone shit. That was your, it's just like, what is that to you though? Is it, do I have to get back to sounding like that? Or was that a time marker in your life when you were in college dating this girl and you got that mixtape and nobody knew about Drake and you want that moment back? I can't give you that moment anymore.
The Waiter by Scotty McCreery isn't good. So I know I ripped on these one-dimensional takes in my cold takes video, but I wanted to include this one simply because I think there's almost a bit of truth. Make no mistake, the concept of the song is beautiful. The intentions the song had set up the alley-oop for a phenomenal ballad. I just think execution-wise, it maybe wasn't the best. I sort of alluded to it in my informal review of Scotty's record when it came out, but with it becoming the song from the record that everyone's putting on a pedestal, I couldn't help but think it's getting a bit overloved. It's getting to be a bit overrated. I'm just glad I didn't have to be the one to say it. I just find some of the lyrics to be over-clarifying, and it kind of kills the mood, like when you have to explain the joke to somebody. Even some of the lyrics, cadence-wise, just fit sort of awkwardly within the rhythm of the song. Again, it's a great song at its core. I just don't think it came together as well as it could have. Would I go as far as to say that it's not good? No, but I also do think it's a bit overloved for what it ended up being. Life Rolls On isn't that bad. Yes, it is. The SpongeBob Off the Grid is better than the original Off the Grid. This legitimately might be facts here. Like, it's super rare when a remix ends up being better than the original, especially when the original is arguably the greatest song of the year. But like, did y'all hear Mr. Krabs?
When I was in jail, it was low-key. Shadow disappointed that rode me. Full workout and then go sleep.
Morgan Wallin will be remembered for bringing a whole new audience into the country scene. Were you on vacation, I don't know, during the first few weeks of February by chance? Because as much as I would want to agree, even if it's not necessarily true, I think there's another overarching event that will be hard for Morgan to, I don't know, distance his career from. Speaking of Morgan Wallin, 23 is a superior version of 7 Summers. Spicy. I will begin by saying that I 100% see the parallels between the two. In fact, I think I made that comparison in my Sam Hunt video recently. Future editor Overshore if I did insert the clip now. Both are songs to past lovers, asking them to call back to a specific time in their youth. Both have a dreamy element surrounding them. Both walk the line of content, nostalgia, and longing for the past. But when it's all said and done, I disagree. If 7 Summers was a person, he'd be my boy. He'd be my right-hand man posted up right here. Even just today, in preparation for this video, I threw these 2 songs on while I was driving. And man, 7 Summers just hits me different. I rewinded it like 3 times. Every time I listen to Seven Summers, I seem to fall in love with it more. I don't care how basic this is about to sound, but Seven Summers is legitimately becoming like one of my favorite country songs. But a lot of that is due to the experiences I've had with the song. The place I was at in life when it came out, the build up to it, the just general climate of the world at the time. But another standout aspect of Seven Summers for me is how I just don't think it really ages. Given the fact that the song is about calling back to an unspecified time, it helps the song feel relevant in my life no matter when I'm listening to it. Another thing I love, I also just think that guitar lick is absolutely brilliant. It feels like a transition from one scene in a movie to another. Like every time I hear Seven Summers, I feel like the main character in a movie. It's a great darn feeling. This really ties back to the Zach Bryan take from earlier, where I have a bias towards the song because of the impact it's had on me, but that's okay. Music hits different people in different ways. This song hits you, this one hits me. I think it's really cool to see how different songs connect with different people. As for which one is objectively better, I think you can make really strong arguments for both sides. 23 maybe has some more clever songwriting, but you could also probably easily argue Seven Summers has the better production. I don't know, it's 2 tracks that I think deserve to be compared given how similar they kind of are in essence, but I'm taking Seven Summers all 7 days of the week. And that is all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. There's going to be another episode of Hot Takes coming soon because I've got several more hot takes locked and loaded ready to go here, but I just took a glance at the time and I've been recording for like 22 minutes. Now, however long that ends up being after cutting and whatnot is an entirely different story. But I think it's safe to say this video is getting long enough. So, as always, links to my Instagram, Discord, and podcast are all in the description below. Be sure to comment your opinions on any of these takes down below. Love to start that convivial conversation with you guys down there. And yeah, until next time, hope you have a great day.